Hello and welcome to the January 13th meeting of the Public Works and Finance Committee. First item on the agenda, since it's the first meeting of the calendar year, we must select committee chair and vice chair. And the avid viewers at home may have noticed that we have a new set of, I guess, a new mix of faces for this commission. This commentary is for our avid YouTubers, obviously. So the council splits, the six of us split 3 and 3. 3 of us serve on the administrative committee, which meets the fourth Mondays, and the Public Works and Finance is made up of another 3 council members that meet on the second Mondays. And these committees vet a whole bunch of stuff that usually ends up on consent agenda. But so this year we've got Haley, Sandra, Julia serving on the Public Works and Finance Committee, and so we must select a chair and a vice chair. Anyone hungry for either?
I'm really happy with how we're set up.
Okay.
I like this layout, so I think maybe you should just be chair.
I mean,
It's fine with me.
okay, the hardest part is remembering what day of the week these meetings happen, or like stating the date for the record. I mean, I don't mind.
All of them.
We can help.
Your
We're here to
names at the
help.
front.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, and thankfully, on the agenda, it says Monday, January 13th. So I do have help. Yeah, I don't mind. Who wants to be vice chair?
Sandra?
Sandra?
I'd love to.
Great. Okay. So, and since action item, I guess it requires a vote. So, or not a vote, do we just
A
need to tell
motion.
you?
I move that Haley Lewis is chair of this committee and that Sandra Kelly is vice chair.
And a second, I guess. I don't know how formal we need to go. Great. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Great. That is Dunzo, Washington. Okay, item number 2 is the approval of Public Works and Finance Committee minutes from December 9th of last year. Thank you, Lori, for the beautiful minutes. Any concerns?
Nope.
Great. We approve. Item number 3 is the disbursement report for December 2024 with Sarah Decker. Hi, Sarah.
Hi. All right, so looking at the accounts payable report for month ending December 31st, 2024, major expenditures totaled $3,304,648. Our largest expenditure was payroll, $1,240,977. And I do have 3 larger expenditures to point out. We purchased the radios for the fire department, and that amount was $673,571.17. Are there more radios being purchased?
No, that's the last. We had been holding off. So we've purchased the police department. We purchased Public Works radios. We were holding off on the fire department because we had applied for the Assistance to Firefighter grant
Right, okay.
to help fund the replacement of, I think, 55 of those. Were not successful in that grant, so we placed the order.
And that was a state grant, is that
Federal.
right? Federal. Okay.
All right, so then that's the last purchase on that. And then we purchased a sweeper for streets in the amount of $393,573.60 and a new training van for PD, and that totaled $58,835.
I hadn't heard anything about the sweeper. Was that a surprise or was that just something that I didn't watch?
Well, and it's actually a replacement, so it's on our replacement schedule.
Okay.
We've been accumulating. They finally came up for purchase, and so they did it.
Great, thanks.
What happens
And
to
it
the
was-
old sweeper?
Oh, we traded it in.
Yeah.
And that was in the
Always curious.
FY25 budget for that purchase in the fleet fund.
Great.
Can I ask, so I remember the grant application coming for the radios for the federal assistance. The $673,000 and change, was that we'd already budgeted assuming that we were going to have to put the bill for everything?
Correct.
Okay, and it just would have been a really great surprise had we been.
Correct.
Do we know why do we get enough information to understand why we did not receive the federal assistance?
So we did have a debrief. I could provide you more details. I know
worries.
Brian and Lisa had a debrief. We just weren't rated as having high enough need. And then there are some criteria I think they want you to comply with regard to like levels of physicals that you perform required of your membership that we just can't do as well. It wouldn't be
Yeah.
it'd be cost prohibitive for us to do as a volunteer organization. So there were a couple, we're not successful in the SAFER grant, and we were not successful in the Assistance of Firefighters in the debrief. Some of the requirements are things that we just will not be able to meet.
Okay.
And so that was something that I think was unknown a little bit at the time we made the application, but after going through the debrief, I think we will not be good candidates. Well, the assistance firefighter, I think there's still some opportunities. SAFER, we probably will never be a good candidate for,
Okay.
given the
It's more
voluntary nature of the
structured for a
organization.
full-time. Okay, that is helpful. Okay. I'm writing myself a note that says would have been nice surprise had we received it. Okay. Groovy.
I think that grant was for 55 out of the little over 200 radios we have on the fire side. So it would have been about a quarter of that cost.
Okay. Excellent. Any other questions, major expenditures or other for Sarah? Okay. Do we accept the disbursements report for the month of December 2024?
Yes.
Groovy. That sounds great. Thank you, Sarah. And then item number 4 is also with Sarah, which is the first quarter financial report, October 1st of 2024 through December 31st. Yes, 2024, which is
Gone.
first quarter of fiscal year 2025.
Correct.
Okay. Love it.
All right, so looking at the fiscal year report, as you can see, majority of things are falling in line. Typically at this point, we want to be at about 25%. There are transfers that are 100%, and those are always the ones that go to IS and Fleet, and that's usually because they have to make larger purchases early in the year. There's a few other little anomalies. We do have our capital outlay and general fund at about 82%, and that's because we had our HVAC replacements come in, and those were done early. So that's pushing that percentage a little higher. And then within information systems and the capital outlay, you will see that has to do with the radio purchases as well as they went ahead and purchased our laptop computers, which was in our expenditure reports. So other than that, everything else is trending because capital projects, it's not capital project season anymore. That's a little lower, so that runs our percentage down. So our overall city revenue at this point is 11.48% and our expenditures are 12.46.
And I guess my question on the HVAC piece, I mean, it makes sense that you'll see it, the capital outlay pieces happen as the projects happen. If we're at over 80% now, my guess is we still would not expect to see that go beyond the
Correct.
100%, right? It just is the nature of, I guess,
Of
timing
when
the
we
project.
purchase it, yeah.
Okay.
And so we should be staying within that budget. If not, then certainly that's something that'll be brought forward.
Great.
Uh,
I think we should approve it.
Yep. Any other questions, concerns? Okay. Are we comfortable approving the first quarter FY25 financial report?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, groovy. Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you.
And consent agenda for both. Is that okay? Love it. Thank you, Sarah. Item number 5 on our agenda is the Moscow Winterfest alcohol use request in the entertainment district presented by Amanda Argona. Welcome, Amanda.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
So before you in your packet is the approved event application for the Moscow Chamber of Commerce and Visitor Center's annual Moscow Winter Fest for Saturday, February 1st. We're just following standard operating procedures here as they're requesting a temporary suspension of the open container law by resolution. But there's a map attached. This event was officially approved about a month ago, and they have paid their alcohol use fee. And so pending this group's decision, then they'll pay any remaining fees that are due. But happy to answer any questions about the process. And then Elise Lease from the Chamber is here to answer any questions specifically to the event itself.
I have a question. Someone asked me this and I didn't know. Do you, I guess it's a 2-part, sort of the same thing. Do you have a limit on how many vendors can be there? And if so, how is that, how are they selected?
We don't have a limit on vendors, and we don't select the vendors as in the city itself. So that would be up to council discretion if they wanted to put a limit on vendors per se, but there's nothing in our event application process that requires a minimum, maximum number of vendors. Yeah. And I assume you're speaking to beer and wine vendors?
Actually, I was both. I've had a food person ask me too, and I'm like, I don't know. I think you should go to the chamber and ask.
So the chamber decides.
It's the applicant.
Yeah.
Yeah. So different applicants, the chamber is the one that we work with most frequently, but anyone truly.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Nope, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Are there concerns with downtown vendors about shutting the driving parking access to this area during the events?
It depends on time of day, of course, and time of year. I would say, generally speaking, we sometimes get some concern from the downtown business community about that. I am sort of like a regular standing agenda item for the DBA's monthly meetings to kind of give them updates on when we receive applications so they have a heads up. But I haven't had any complaints flooding my inbox or anything specific. I think it's always tough when there's an event on a holiday that's observed by the city and city staff has to work it.
Sure.
But no, not specifically with this event, if you're asking about that.
Okay. And then I have another question about the safety for the cross streets. How are we creating pedestrian safety in terms of barricades at the ends of the cross streets?
Yeah. I assume you're referring to some events that have happened recently.
New Orleans recently, yeah.
Well, it's been a concern of mine for
Yeah.
a while, so I just think it's a good time to talk about it again.
Yeah, so I in the fall, this just recent fall, I talked with Tyler Palmer and Steve Schulte. We received a demo from Meridian Barrier Group about how that might work, feasibility, and Elisa Anderson is looking into grant potential with that. At this point in time, we don't put out additional safety measures for events. So at this point, all of these events are routed to various reviewers and approvers, including PD. So they are aware of should something be happening. They may be scheduling more people. They may have people that are on patrol like come in to these events, but no additional barriers.
In light of recent events, we did get an updated quote for what it would take for the typical 3rd to 6th Street footprint, about $150,000. So we will be probably evaluating that during the budget process for FY26.
And I am wondering if there's a possibility that in the interim we can have vehicles there, like the new street sweeper or police cars or a fire truck or something at those entrances. Is that a possibility?
Yep, we can meet. It'll take more than one to truly physically block. So it takes 6 vehicles for us to position
Does
on.
it? Wow.
Yeah, probably 2 on 3rd, 2 6th, and 2 on 4th.
Oh, 4th,
5th,
right.
I mean. 5th,
Oh, yeah, 5th Street, yeah.
5th. Those would be the primary means of egress. There's also some locations on Friendship Square and on the 4th Street cul-de-sac that we have to take a look at as well. So we would take quite a few vehicles, but certainly we can do an interim assessment if that is something that is feasible for us to do. It would just take some personnel to mobilize those for each and every event or every market day.
Yeah.
I'd
I
love to be
know,
part for
it's
that.
a lot. It's something I brought up before, but just definitely front of mind right now.
Yeah, and I guess my other thought is like, it probably wouldn't make sense for there to be PD. And just one sec, I'm going to ask our AV person in the back. Corey, do we still have okay audio? Is everyone still okay? If you want to give me a knock, I just want to make sure that Amanda's okay. Thanks. The powers that be. I know contractually that in the case of the entertainment district ones, unless PD deems otherwise necessary, that the event holder needs to provide their own security, they act as the circulating entity, and I wouldn't want cop cars parked there if that means they would need to hop in and leave. But I hear what you're saying as far as like, can we do a much larger vehicle or something that would discourage others? But then I also think through like, what would insurance cover if
You're okay.
What would insurance cover if our street sweeper was parked and it got hit by, we parked it there intentionally and it got hit by something, which is still going to do the job of protecting people and stopping a nefarious actor from doing something stupid? Yeah, I mean, I guess I know Tyler had talked about the barriers, the mobile barriers. That was a conversation. I think we had also had some in-depth conversation with when we were doing the downtown infrastructure review.
Yeah, we were looking at doing some automated like hydraulic bollards
Yeah,
at the time,
I think
just
Boise has
to
that too.
alleviate the labor component. The Meridian barriers are probably something that will require additional staff for every market day to deploy because they are heavy and awkward.
I don't have the leverage
Yeah.
height-wise to deploy them
I wasn't-
myself.
I wasn't going to call you
Yeah.
out, Amanda.
Yeah.
But we probably are going to need to bring some maintenance personnel to be able to move them because they are something that's loaded on a flatbed trailer that do take multiple trips that are it does take some effort to deploy. In kind of our idealized vision was you get a cabinet, open it, push a button, and you have a hydraulic system that's in place. We're going to go through and evaluate those again, but I think in FY26 we'll have a budget request for some form of vehicle barrier for those events.
Okay. And do we know if there's grants available for sort of those sorts of safety improvements?
Early looks aren't too encouraging.
Okay, I wonder if that will change.
Probably not.
Probably not. That is good to know.
When I'm in other cities, I take pictures of their
Blockades.
ballards.
Yeah.
Send them to Tyler.
Yeah.
Like, look at this one.
I think if the Meridian Group, if they have a local office, you can work and contract with them to come and do that. But we're not.
Are they based in Meridian, Idaho? Is that
No.
okay?
I think
No
they're
relation.
based somewhere on the West Coast.
Okay.
Yeah.
That is good to know. Okay. Any other questions either about general entertainment district things or this event specifically?
No.
Okay. I would invite at least Lisa because Julia was mentioning earlier. What do you need volunteers? What does the process look like if for staffing and things like that? And so Elise, if you'd like to come visit briefly for the avid YouTubers
Is
at
this the third
home.
annual?
I think this is the fourth.
Third or fourth?
I can't remember.
I want to say it's the 4th
Okay.
I want to
because Moskoberfest was our 10th.
Oh, nuh-uh.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
10th
Crazy.
event in the downtown.
The 10th block party
Okay.
that we've done.
Oh yeah, not the 10th year.
Yeah.
No, gosh, no. Oh my gosh, no. Mm-mm. So as for workers and whatnot, we've been working really hard to make sure that our staff, all of our staff is there. So there's 4 of us from the chamber that are there, as well as our check-in is done by sponsors. This year we have Latah Credit Union that will be doing one of our check-ins. And then we also have a couple of business owners doing the next check-in. We do like to ensure that the check-ins are well managed since that's the first point of contact. So one of our staff members is always at that. Sam and I will be running around as usual. But we also have 4 folks from the, wow, my brain is like.
I put you on the spot. Sorry.
No, it's okay. Holy moly! From the sanitation
Oh,
department.
LSI. Sure.
No, not LSI, but
Northwest.
thank you.
Inland Northwest.
In the Northwest.
Yes, yes.
Yes. So we have 4 volunteers from them that will help maintain and keep the whole thing going throughout the beginning of it.
Nice.
And then we are going to be working with Alpha Kappa Lambda this year to
nice.
get about 15 of their men to come and help set up,
Move
do
tables.
maintenance,
Those tables are
and
heavy.
take down. The 40-pound sandbags are the funnest part.
True.
So
Very
we've
true.
been really fortunate in how many businesses that want to come and sponsor this and participate, as well as we're getting more and more of the fraternities and sororities doing this stuff, which is really fun as well.
Yeah, town and gown. I like it.
Yeah, being part of a sorority myself, I think it's really fun to work with the men and women of those houses.
That's
So,
awesome.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Any questions or concerns, or how do we feel about the motion proposed action, which is to recommend approval of the resolution allowing for the temporary suspension of the open container law within the event footprint of the entertainment district for Moscow Winterfest for the duration of the event, which again is on February 1st from 1 to
12 to 4.
12 to 4. Thank you. 12 to 4 p.m.
Yes.
Feeling good?
Yep, that's fine.
Okay. That sounds great.
But it looks like it has to go on.
If it's a resolution, do we need to go
On consent.
It's not a resolution, is it?
It is.
It is.
It is.
Yep.
to waive the, yeah.
Yeah, it's required by city code. The
Oh.
council can only waive the open container by resolution.
Great.
So there is a resolution in your packet. But resolutions can go on consent.
Oh, they can. Okay.
Oh, great.
It's only ordinances cannot.
Well, this isn't new. I think we should go ahead and put it on consent.
It's a repeat event. I'm okay with that as well.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, consent agenda. Cool.
thank
Thanks,
you.
Amanda. Thanks, Elise. Okay, item number 6 with Megan Cherry is the Idaho Commission on the Arts grant application for the public programs in the arts. Welcome, Megan.
Thank you. Happy New Year, everybody.
Thank you.
This is a standard annual grant application request. The Public Programs in the Arts grant through the Idaho Commission on the Arts is for established arts organizations that have been part of their entry track program for a minimum of 3 years. After that point, organizations are moved to this, if they meet all the criteria, they're moved to this Public Programs in the Arts program, which is essentially a really friendly, as you can see from the application materials in your packet, the application is really simple. The final report in July is definitely more of an investment of time, but this is just a standard program that we apply for every year. But I'd be happy to try to answer any questions you might have.
I will just say that Haley and I were kind of laughing earlier. It seems so weird that we have to say, yeah, I think we approve that you go for a grant. Right?
We authorize you to go
Get
seek
some
more.
money. That'd be great.
Yeah. And I'm just refreshing my memory here. We do the application at the beginning of calendar year because the effective date for the grant says July 1, 25 and runs through June 30th of 2026. So we apply now, and then it's kind of a staggered grant application, I think, compared to some of our other ones, right?
Yes, we apply now, and then for FY26 we apply now, and end of July I'll final report on FY25.
Right.
Gotcha. Okay.
And then a little bit after that, the
Start
funds
all
show up for FY26, which we then defer for use in 26.
And it's really, it gives you a lot of leeway to use that money for what you want to use it for, right?
Yes, it is specifically for programming.
Right.
Yeah.
But you don't have to say right now, I want it for this program for this amount
On
of
these
time.
days,
right,
that will hold no matter
yeah,
what.
great.
Yeah.
And they, when we do the final report on this grant, they don't ask for an itemized budget of,
Great.
what were your expenses with Art Walk? We do submit the arts department's annual budget and the city's annual budget, but it's not like other project
Yeah.
grants where you're having to itemize each thing. So yeah, it's more. I think this grant program is about they're looking at the financial soundness of the organization, the alignment of programming to mission, personnel, all of that stuff.
Great. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, sounds good. Thank you
Yeah, it
for
does.
applying for that.
And
Thank you very
so
much.
do we
Yep.
recommend approval of the Public Programs in the Arts, aka the PPA grant application for the current cycle? Sound good?
Yes.
And is that one also okay on consent? Okay, great. Thanks, Megan. And then the last item on our agenda is with Mia Bautista, the resolution authorizing city attorney to submit a claim on behalf of the city of Moscow for the payment card interchange fee settlement. This one I'm super interested to learn more.
Oh, well, I'll try to keep it simple. So back in 2005, numerous merchants, actually, I think millions of merchants filed claims against Visa, MasterCard, and their issuing banks for alleging violations of the antitrust law. So to put it in its most simplest form, what they did is these competitors got together and decided on a fee they're going to charge their merchants for accepting credit card payments or debit card payments. And so that's against the law. You can't do that. And so what the settlement is it is a settlement for $5.5 billion. And the distribution will be based on a pro rata basis. And so there's really no way of knowing how much the city has potential to receive. It all depends on the number of claims by the eligible merchants. So we are an eligible merchant. We were charged interchange fees during the claim period, which is January 1, 2004 to January 25, 2019. We don't know the exact amount that the city paid. We know that we paid somewhere in the realm of over $75,000 in interchange fees. We don't know how much of that would be eligible, but the only way to find out is to submit a claim and let them run their course. I think it could possibly be years before we would see anything because there will be a lot of claims to be vetted. And then once all the claims are filed, the class settlement class administrator puts a proposal together of what the distribution will look like, and then the court has to approve that. So just to put it in perspective, complaints started being filed in 2005. It's 2025. The window closes to opt in to the settlement here pretty soon. I believe
It's
it's
February
February.
4 submission deadline.
Yeah, so once that, so I mean, it's been 20 years in the making to even get to this point where we have a deadline to file a claim. So there's really no way of knowing. So this resolution before you is just to authorize me to sign to opt in to the settlement on behalf of the city. In doing that, we are saying we are not going to pursue separate claim against MasterCard, Visa to go after them for our specific. So we are agreeing to be a part of this class.
Action. Okay.
Well,
Wow.
in 15 years, there'll be a check in the mail. And we're like, what?
That'll be $3.49.
Hey, look what
I mean,
we
I
got.
appreciate that we have this method in the system to hold these folks accountable. So I guess my question is, what is the impact to city staff other than you opting in? If it's a class action lawsuit, it doesn't mean that, other than us potentially providing additional data and your team having to gather that data, is there a significant impact that we know of to staff bandwidth?
I don't believe so.
Cool. And this would be so the $75,000 would be, is that the fees that we paid in like running card transactions for like paying invoices? That's not from what we would have had to administer for people paying their utility payments and
Correct.
things like that, right? It's us.
Just transaction fees.
Yes.
Okay.
And that's just the minimum amount we know of. So once we opt in, then my office will work with finance and the class administrator to see if we can find out how much more we paid out because we don't have data to fit within all the years that we are eligible.
Yeah.
But they have a way to help do the research and find out the maximum amount we could opt
Okay.
in. Mhm.
Cool.
Great.
So how do we feel about recommending approval of this resolution?
Good.
Yep, that's fine.
And so this one could also go on consent.
I
Do
would
you-
recommend this go on regular
I was
agenda
gonna
just
ask
because of
if
the
we're
unique
okay.
nature of this. Correct.
Cool. I'm okay with it being on full agenda.
Yeah.
Okay, groovy. And then that way, in 15 years when we get a check in the mail,
Somebody will remember what?
I love it. Okay.
Your grandkids might benefit.
Yeah. no kidding. Yes, I love it. Okay. Thank you, Mia.
Thank you.
Any other questions, comments, staff, anyone? Okay, we will be adjourned at, well, it depends on which clock you're looking at, 4:27 based on the council chambers. So thank you.
What clock were you looking at?
Well, my computer